Everybody wants to do the big, exciting, sexy projects like AI. That sells. I go to the CEO, I say, I'm going to change our business by using AI. He gets behind it. What's not easy to sell is to go to the CEO and say, you need to spend $25 million cleaning up data. My name is Dr. Michael Krause. I'm the head of AI solutions at Beyond Limits. And our mandate is essentially to look at customer problems in a consulting sort of manner and then construct a framework and an architecture using machine learning and other technologies to resolve their problem or analyze their specific challenge and put that in the context of their specific domain and leverage, let's say, the client's domain expertise as well as our own machine learning or our own internal domain expertise as well to come up with a formal solution for their challenges. And that might be in the form of a software or a consulting project. It really varies project by project, but that's basically all covered under my role. So I think the most common challenge in AI adoption is actually centered around data and getting people to transform their thinking from data as a trade secret to be carefully guarded to data as a resource to be leveraged and broadly distributed. Transformation or thinking about these takes time to implement, and we're seeing the beginnings of this change. But everybody gets excited about AI because it really can lead to information. But then we go on site, we start talking, we get a lot of good ideas, and then we ask them, well, what kind of data do you have? And well, they say, well, we got a little bit in this application, we got a little bit in that application. Here's some boxes with some papers. What can you do? And it's like, well, nothing. You guys aren't even, you don't even have the basic foundation ready to leverage any of this. So overall, those are the most common challenges we run into. The infrastructure, the AI technologies, all of those exist today and are ready to be leveraged, but getting access and distributing that data to be useful are the number one challenges that we face in the industry. On the COVID question, certainly there are a tremendous number of challenges that has been revealed, but there are a lot of technologies available to enable companies to work in a remote environment. Companies transforming overnight from everything on site to distributed workforce has been a challenge, but things like Zoom and stuff have been available to overcome these. But I want to focus on one thing that is not enabled as well as an in-person meeting, and that is the actual knowledge transfer. So companies have been dependent on side-by-side, let's say, working environments of junior or unexperienced engineers with senior experienced individuals, and that is simply not enabled as well as effectively using remote technologies. So Beyond Limits actually has been working with the client for the last year to leverage our special IP, which is able to codify and embed human knowledge into a machine learning system. And so in doing this, we are working closely with a central team of experts to embed their knowledge in a series of a few hundred knowledge concepts into an AI system to distribute that to the users and then allow them to go through that machine learning process in their desktop environment, but then on the output side to be able to view and understand the results with plain English context of how those results were derived from the expert knowledge concept. So now we are enabling the transfer of that knowledge and essentially training the engineers at a global scale using the expert's experience. I think the Middle East is very well poised to benefit from the development of AI technologies. So you're seeing the cost of barrier to fall every day. You're seeing the technical barriers to implementation be brought down, the proliferation of offerings of platforms of applications and services centered around AI. And the Middle East is well poised to take advantage of those. And especially in the environment of falling oil prices or essentially lower oil prices, you're seeing economics being a big driver behind the push for innovation in companies. We're seeing clients who historically have not leveraged these technologies because they didn't need to, taking up new approaches, new ideas, and looking for ways to drive down costs and increase efficiency of their operations using AI. I gave you one example, and that is really a global example, including some clients in the Middle East. The next one I want to give you, though, is on downstream, rather. So the previous one is for an upstream well-centric problem. On downstream, we have a Refinery Advisor, which is essentially used to allow operators of individual refining units to optimally run their units. So refineries are very complex environments. They're nonlinear, they're highly coupled processes that have very tight tolerances. The inputs and outputs are changing, but tightly controlled. And so the entire system has to work within a very tight safety margin at very low operating margins as well. So it's a very challenging environment. And so AI is the other thing that refineries do have, though, is they have a lot of data. So there's a lot of sensors and data feeds. So this is a very, very good problem for AI in general. And our Refinery Advisor leverages all of that data feeds coming in, and then allows operators of each unit to operate their units within the tolerance required, but then also contextualizes the entire operation globally, so that not only are operators making decisions locally, the system is optimizing everything globally, and it's able to foresee bottlenecks before they occur, before they become critical, and then enable you to reroute feedstocks, for example, or change operating conditions to avoid exceeding any tolerance within components of the refinery. Beyond Limits has a very unique IP around symbolic. I alluded to that with the contextualizing experience and knowledge. And so I hope that I can speak more about that and give people greater insight about how companies can leverage this technology to improve their business processes, run a better operation, run safer operations, et cetera.